Hello guys, it's ZK, and today we're going to be talking about Black Ops 6 Zombies. And to be fair, so far with the recent updates, the recent maps and seasons, it's been a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. I'm going to get more onto that later, but today's video is basically just about why I feel like Black Ops 6 Zombies is a bit meh right now, like it's not really too interesting. And of course, don't forget, this is my own opinion. I know some people will really like Black Ops 6, but for me personally, I just feel like it's going a little bit downhill in terms of quality. I'm not saying I hate the mode by any means, I actually do really like it, but I have noticed quality wise, again, it just isn't really there. And to be fair, this video was inspired by Cameroon's podcast, which I did feature on a couple of days ago. If you haven't watched that already, I will link it below. And just as a disclaimer, I haven't actually done any of the Easter eggs yet, but that is on my things to do. I have a long bucket list of other stuff I need to do as well. But yeah, starting off with Terminus itself, the first map for Black Ops 6. I really do like Terminus because it does feel really original from the ground up. You've got an original wonder weapon like the Beam Smasher, the atmosphere and like the challenge feels really good. It's the first time you actually see the different enemies like the Amalgam, the Parasite and the Manglers, which although the Manglers are from Cold War and Parasites are from Black Ops 3, it's quite refreshing to see. But of course, the further we progress through maps, that will keep repeating, which I'll go into more later. And to be fair, Terminus does set the scene for future Black Ops 6 maps. Like with this map, you get a really good idea of like where the game is going to go, what you can expect. And my first time playing Terminus back in October of last year, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite a unique experience. Again, I'm still yet to do the Easter egg, but from what I've watched of the Easter egg boss fight, it does look really cool. And comparing this map to the Cold War quality, I would actually say this map is a lot better. I feel like this map should have been in Cold War. It honestly does feel a lot better quality than some of Cold War's maps, which are literally just a rip-off campaign levels. And I'm going to mention intro screen a lot, but this map does actually have like an intro cinematic, which again I'll get further into the more we progress. However, one thing I did find annoying about Terminus was the fact that there was a ton of Mangler spam. I'm pretty sure they have nerfed it now, but back when this map first released, Manglers were literally your worst enemy. And to be fair with you, Terminus is more of like a hardcore map for like seasoned players. Like, you know, your COD Zombies veterans would jump on this map, like complete all the Easter eggs to get to a high round. Whereas on the opposite side of the game, there is Liberty Falls, which I think we all know what this map was like when it first got announced. Many people hated it. You know, I even gave it some criticism. And to be fair with you, this map actually surprised me and many others. It just goes to show, don't judge a book by its cover, because of course it can change very quickly. And although, in my opinion, it's not a perfect map, it is a really good casual map if you want to, I don't know, camo grind or sit back and relax with friends. It is the opposite of Terminus, it is simple and casual. With Liberty Falls as well, you've also got the return of the jet gun, which is good and bad. I would have preferred a better, more original wonder weapon like Terminus, but at the same time they reworked a classic to actually make it a lot better, because in Black Ops 2 the jet gun was widely hated, but in Black Ops 6, you know, it's a lot better now. I do see the improvements. And yet again, those Manglers return as well, but luckily they were nerfed. And alongside Manglers, there was also the spiders, the vermin rounds. We also got the abomination back. And I think right about here you can sort of see like a theme going on with these maps. Like they were bringing back like a few of the old stuff, but it wasn't really so obvious in my opinion. It was a nice surprise for like the first time you played the map back in October. And to be fair, I didn't really mind the addition of old stuff at that point, because I just thought, it was pretty cool, I suppose it will work with the game. And then moving on to Citadelle, which is the first DLC map for Black Ops 6, and this map was actually inspired by Liberty Falls. Treyarch even said that Liberty Falls was the most played map at launch over Terminus, which is actually quite surprising considering many people hated it. And fourth, the future maps would also take the same layout as Liberty Falls, or inspiration from that, which I will get into much later. But I mean, I don't really find that bad either, because I know most people who play Black Ops 6 Zombies are casuals, so I think this will appeal to them a lot more. And in case you couldn't tell already, Citadelle Des Morts was also inspired by Der Eisendrache, hence why we've got 4 unique swords into the bows. They do sort of feel similar to Der Eisendrache's bows, except in sword form, which I think is really cool, fits the medieval theme quite well. And I gotta admit, the first time I saw this map, I was actually quite impressed with the map atmosphere. It did feel really unique, quite gloomy, and this map also featured a intro cutscene as well, which featured like all the characters. One thing I didn't particularly like about Citadel was the return of old zombies bosses. So we got the amalgam again, we got the vermin round, but however we did get a new boss, which was the Doppelgast, which is basically like an amalgam but a little easier to kill. And if you ask me, when I was playing Citadel, I didn't really mind it that much, but it was starting to become obvious they were sort of reusing stuff. But it didn't take away any of the gameplay aspect, as it was still a really fun map. And now moving on to the tomb, and you see, this is where the cracks start to really show, because yet again it is inspired by Liberty Falls, which, like I mentioned before, can be good and bad, can be good for the casual community, as most people are casuals who tend to sit back and relax. You know, I'm a bit of a casual zombies player myself. I don't find myself doing a lot of Easter eggs. However, the same bosses return again, such as the amalgam, the parasites, the vermin, you know, all that stuff. Surprisingly, there's no manglers anymore, I've noticed, which is good. They were a little bit annoying, but yeah, they're just bringing back the same enemies again, and this is where I started to get really tired of it, because it just feels like just reusing like the same enemies. Like, the amalgam basically fit perfectly on Terminus because of the experiments they did on the island. It basically fit well with the story, and I feel like the amalgam should have been left behind on Terminus, but for some reason we see it like every single map, which is a little bit strange. Even the vermin and the parasites make more sense on Terminus. I feel like they should have gone with something a little bit more new. However, they did actually add one new enemy, which was the Mimic. Which, yeah, I already know what you're going to say. Why? And I'm already thinking the same thing. Why? Because the Mimic is just annoying. It's basically the same thing from Cold War, except it has an electric mechanic. It basically shocks you when it hits you, which is even more annoying. Of course, we have a new wonder weapon with our new map, which you might think maybe they'll go with something a little bit more original, something that's never been seen before. But no, for some reason they decided to reuse the Origins ice staff, which in my opinion doesn't really make much sense. This doesn't really feel anything like Origins. I mean, maybe the the dig site in the underground area sort of feels like the crazy place from Origins, maybe, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't really fit with the map. It feels like it's just there purely for nostalgia. And one thing I actually forgot to mention as well was the voice actor strikes, and unfortunately they do return for the tomb. So in Citadelle Des Morts, when you loaded into the game, you could tell Sam sounded different, but I'm not too sure about the characters. And then of course with the tomb, the voice actor strikes continued. If you want to learn more about what happened between that, there is videos from other people on that, you can go look it up. But basically there was no AI protection in their contract. The voice actors basically decided not to continue working with Treyarch. Not to mention the game in general, like the art style, like the calling cards for example, also had like AI Slop in them, which people pointed out very quickly. So yeah, Treyarch had been a bit under fire recently for that. I'm not sure if that's still going, but yeah, it's definitely had a big effect with the tomb, and you can see it as well because there's no actual intro cutscene. There's literally nothing, you just spawn into the actual map itself. I was also quite curious as well to see what the Easter egg ending scene looked like, even though I never did the Easter egg, so I basically looked that up, and yeah, it's not very interesting. None of the voice actors even talk in the cutscene. It's just Sam talking about some next map location, which is cool. I do like the diagrams and stuff, but like none of the voice actors speaking, it feels a little bit weird. Like if you compare the Origins intro scene, for example, to the actual ending cutscene of the tomb, it is very obvious that there's a massive quality difference. Like, where's my Avenged Sevenfold playing, like, when you're shooting zombies and stuff, compared to the tomb where it's literally just dead? Like, I just feel like the quality is sort of degrading with each map, is my honest opinion. That might be a bit of a hot take as well, but I just feel like I don't know, I just feel like the maps so far are just beginning to go downhill. But aside from that, talk about the map itself, I feel like the layout for the tomb is a little bit lazy. So you basically got like 4 teleporters, which poorly tape the map together with like different coloured portals you can go through. I don't know, it just feels like really cheap in my opinion. I know I'm probably overhating on this map a lot. I know some people might like it, but to be fair, I feel like they could have done a little bit better with the portals. It just feel like they're just there to link stuff together. Although I gotta admit, the Dark Ether area is really cool. That's one of my favourite things about the tomb. It does remind me again of Zen from Black Mesa. But anyway, enough blabbering on about the tomb. What is going to happen with our next map then? So, rumour has it our next map is going to be set in Richtofen's mansion, I believe. Apparently we're going to be going back to Liberty Falls, which already has me a little bit worried. Maybe we're reusing locations. Hopefully not. I don't think we will. I might just be overreacting. But it could also be the same mansion from the campaign level. This is what I really like about Terminus, going back to that map. It just feels so original. This mansion map should go back to that originality again, as it just feels like they're starting to reuse content just for the sake of it. Like, speaking of reuse content, remember the Wunderwaffe in the Liberty Falls intro? What if that's used for the mansion map because it is Richtofen's? That could be coming back as well. Like, as long as the Wunderwaffe is reworked or like a little bit different, I don't mind. But again, I just hope there's no reused content with the next map. But considering what I've seen from the tomb and like Citadel, it's already looking like they might be reusing mini bosses and stuff. So yeah, in my opinion, if you ask me, Black Ops 6 is a little bit of a mess right now. Of course, we've got the voice actor strikes, the AI Slop, we've got the new seasonal content, which does feel a little bit weird. They brought back a classic weapon but locked it behind a battle pass, which I don't like at all. The newer maps like the tomb feel okay but don't really provide anything special. Again, most of it's just reused stuff, like a new canvas, in my opinion. It just doesn't really give me any reason to come back to it, unlike the old maps I'd play 100 times, like Origins. It just doesn't really give me any reason to come back to it. And a lot of these newer maps are just a mix of old and new. Again, it's old stuff plonked onto a new canvas, just for like the sake of an update, is how I view it. And to be fair, I feel like they're relying on nostalgia to bring people back, rather than actually innovating and making something new. And it does feel like they are playing it a little bit too safe. They're basically using like popular maps like Origins and Der Eisendrache, basically using what works to make the maps better, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Like, don't get me wrong, it can be good, it can benefit, you know, the game a lot. But again, I just prefer my original stuff. I know some people might prefer the old stuff coming back, and that's fine. But me personally, I'm sick of the same enemies returning. I'm sick of the same wonder weapons. I just like something new, like the Beam Smasher, something we've never seen before. And for the future, again, basically just the same points I've written down here. Original wonder weapons. Don't reuse the same boss enemies. Better cutscenes, make the maps stand out a lot more, give them identity. The tomb in particular felt a little bit lazy in my opinion. That is probably going to be a hot take which many people disagree with, but that's just how I feel. I feel like Black Ops 6 again is in a bit of a weird state. These last 2 maps just haven't really been too interesting. I don't know how to feel when DLC 3 comes out. I mean, obviously I'll still cover it because it's Black Ops 6 news and stuff, but yeah, it just feels a little bit like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm no longer interested in it anymore. Like, I'm interested but not at the same time, if you get what I mean. But yeah, anyway, I'm overcomplicating things as usual. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, join Discord if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.